Hello, YouTube. I'm going to tell you something interesting today. Consider it a cautionary tale, in a way. You see, it happened in the Moscow region. A strange stone excavated from a crater near the Istra River. And it was covered with mysterious signs, apparently, and it took place in the year 2010. The story is from the popular Russian newspaper Komsomolskaya Pravda, and it was written by my longtime acquaintance Vladimir Lagovsky. He's the science writer for the newspaper, and you can see more about him in my videos, for example, of Vladimir Putin and UFOs. Well, it so happened that Sergei Sukhinov, an aviation engineer who had worked for many years at the Wimpel Design Bureau, and also he's a candidate of technical sciences, actually was, because he passed away in 2024. He considered the object that fell into his hands to be a gift from heaven and a find of the millennium. And he had no doubt that we were extremely lucky because it was in Russia that the probe sent to the Earth by aliens was discovered. And I'm speaking about that strange stone excavated, like I said, from a crater. To study this space artifact, it is necessary, Sukhinov believed, to create the International Commission headed by academician Zhoris Alferov and Professor Sergei Kapitsa. It must include leading Russian and foreign experts on paleo contacts, UFOs, and ancient civilizations of the Earth. If the commission would start working then by the 2012, it would be able to confirm that what the Russians called brothers in intelligence, but referring to intelligent extraterrestrials, this commission, that's what they would determine, that they exist. No else has such obvious evidence. The owner of the mysterious object intrigued Lagovsky over the telephone. What's so obviously alien? Lagovsky hesitated and asked him. Signs like hieroglyphs, lots of signs, microchips and wires, Sukhinov promised. It cannot be, Lagovsky thought. But, of course, he agreed to the meeting. And suddenly, of course, did not take place. The engineer showed the stone, which was by no means impressive. Yes, the stone was melted, which may even have made it related to meteorites, visitors from outer space. But there was no connection at all with extraterrestrial civilizations. An australized piece of dark rock, without any conspicuous man-made details. Where is the cuneiform, the microchips, the wiring? Lagovsky asked. It's not visible to the naked eye, Sukhinov said. The height of the available symbols and other elements is not more than 1.5 millimeters. Sergei Stefanovich Sukhinov displayed numerous images of the screen and said that he came across the stone back in 1995. It was exposed by rain on the shore of a drying swamp next to the Istra River. The swamp is located 25 kilometers from Moscow in a strange excavation, and even oval measuring 1.5 kilometers. Sukhinov was sure that this is an ancient meteorite crater, and the discovered stone is a fragment of a larger body that is worth searching for. The bolide crashed into the ground at an angle, explained the researcher, and left an oval funnel, and it poured the soil on one side. Now there is a wooded island in its place. The researcher discovered the strange signs on the stone in 2014, by enlarging the images on a computer. At the Mineralogical Museum, he reviewed hundreds of stone meteorites similar to his, said Sukhinov. He didn't find any elements on any of them that could be even remotely mistaken for signs. And there are several hundreds of them. The researcher lists what he managed to see on the stone in the first place: smooth squares, rectangles, equilateral triangles, and crosses of the same size, as if made by a single stamp. About 100 tiny squares with a dot inside, thin threads, elements similar to terminals, complex structures of dozens of elements connected in a chain. He compared all this to electronic circuit boards and microchips because he had already seen something similar on Earth, according to Sukhinov, when he was engaged in combat anti-aircraft missiles and target aircraft. He studied their parts that fell to the ground, collecting material for his PhD thesis. Electronic equipment elements often burned out completely, but very similar traces remained on the fused baseboards. And what the rocket parts you found were like these stones? Lagovsky expressed his disbelief as the analogy. There were also some kind of stones with electronics fused inside, the researcher replied. Combat missile blocks are often filled with special compounds. They freeze like a stone and protect microcircuits and other fragile elements from destruction during overloads and high temperatures. A similar technology could have been used in this celestial guest. Following the electronics, Sukhinov saw signs on the surface of the stone. There are more than 200 of them, different and tiny, no more than a millimeter high. The signs could be mistaken for natural markings, but a lot of them are repeated, said Sukhinov, which according to the theory of probability is simply unrealistic. For example, he counted several dozen absolutely identical characters similar to the number 7 or to the Latin letter F. There are signs that resemble other letters and numbers or Chinese characters. And on the contrary, there are those who do not resemble anything terrestrial, although they look like whole words. Of course, it would be good to create a reputable commission and either confirm or deny Sukhinov's suspicions, since he has arguments in favor of the alien hypothesis. Although even if the researcher turns out to be right, it is unlikely that you will be able to read anything on the stone. It also represents caked and compressed electronics, even if it came from other worlds. The greatest discovery was simply to prove that we're dealing with the creation of intelligent extraterrestrials, said Sukhinov. We Earthlings have already sent a research probe to other worlds, the Voyager spacecraft. It has left the solar system and is heading to other stars. Sukhinov believes that intelligent civilizations are characterized by both research activities and an irresistible desire to report themselves. Therefore, there is nothing surprising in the fact that the intelligent extraterrestrials could send their probe. They could have been even more cunning. For example, place a probe on a passing asteroid. Listen good. You've been hearing about comets lately, so listen to this, which is by no means fantastic even to us. NASA has a similar project. They seriously propose using an asteroid with a suitable orbit for a flight to Mars. That is, they can climb inside themselves and place engines, batteries, and antennas on the surface. By the way, the Americans' immediate plans are to fly up to some asteroid, land on it, and install scientific equipment. According to Sergei Sukhinov, aliens did something similar millions of years ago choosing an asteroid from among the so-called extra-systemic ones for an experiment. They have a high probability of reaching a neighboring system and falling into the gravitational field of the local planet. Perhaps there were many research asteroids. What one was lucky. One human being, Suhinov, found a piece of it. At least that's what he thinks. At that time, Lagovsky said that he would check it out. He solemnly promised Suhinov to help with the probe's research. It is most interesting to connect serious material scientists and meteorite specialists to them. And then, if necessary, he would invite cryptographers, experts. Although, even if the alien hypothesis is confirmed, it is unlikely that you will be able to read anything on the stone. It will still be left with caked and compressed electronics, even if it came from other worlds. That's it. Nothing else in the Russian media in the last 15 years. There you go. Compared to today's sensationalism, do it yourself. People choose to believe in aliens traveling on comets, or in alien metallic spheres, and so on. So I think it's a cautionary tale. I'll tell you more. But as you can see, we don't have any more proof of this object, whatever it was. Who knows who has it now? Who knows what it actually contained? And if it was what Suhinov said it was, would be interesting to find out. But stay tuned for my videos. And if you like, please support me through the links you find in the description to this video. Also, please kindly like my videos and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for all your attention to my work.